As you know, I've been drawing dragons, and this is my drawing of dragons today. And there's some other drawing dragons. My favorite dragon drawing is this one, because I worked so hard on it. I might have mucked up the feet a little. I think I went a little too overboard with the details. I should have stopped when I got to a certain point, but I really like how this one popped up. Like, here are some other dragon attempts to draw here as well. I even did Mario and Luigi in a dragon thing for the New Year's, because this is the year of the dragon. I'm exploring different dragon art styles, and this is today's drawings of dragons, and then I did some with flowers. I need to practice drawing flowers a bit as well, so anyway, and it is the year of the dragon. It is actually fun to try and explore different ways of drawing dragons, because there's so many different types. There are some that are sort of considered types of dragons, but then the other times they're considered not. It can be kind of like a huge debate if you ever get into conversations with people who like dragons since forever. I have a friend who's a big dragon friend. She got me into dragons before How to Train Your Dragon movies came out. She was a big dragon nerd fan, and she got me into liking dragons too. So I have my Toothless Build-A-Bear plush over there, because I was really into How to Train Your Dragon. I liked the first two movies. I'm not sure if I liked the third as much. And I liked some of the series, but sometimes it was a bit disconnected from the movies, so I even have an art book somewhere there for it, but anyway. I definitely have some of the movies on DVD somewhere, but anyway, so I do know there's lots of different types, but it's interesting to see that West and East have different types of dragons again. Sometimes, like, not all dragons would breathe fire. There'd be some who breathe ice, and there's all sorts of types of dragons. Like, there are actually wooden dragon, like forest dragons, then you got air dragons, and if you have my friend talking to you, I used to love reading the Dragons of Pern series, but I only have like certain number of the books, and I think I only kept my favorite ones out of the series. It's again a whole lot of different dragons. So, and then there's some that are sort of like dragons, but then they're not considered dragons because it gets complicated. It gets really complicated when it comes to dragon drawing and stuff like that. It's because Eastern dragons are like this, whereas Western dragons are usually considered dragons when they have 4 legs and wings and maybe a few horns and breathe fire. Though there are some that will breathe ice, and then there's some who breathe both fire and ice. It's complicated. But there's a type of dragon that's not considered a dragon to some dragon fans. It's considered more of a wyvern. And then there's like, I forget, there's so many different subtitle of names. Sometimes people consider the Kirin, though it's not always considered a dragon, the Kirin, because sometimes in some cultures, like in Korea, the Kirin is considered to be a deer-like creature. So, like, Princess Mononoke had a creature that would be considered more of a Kirin than anything, because some consider the Kirin to be like a unicorn, but it's not a unicorn either. It gets complicated. Like, there's different countries, there's different versions of what the unicorn is like as well. Not as much, because a Kirin isn't really a unicorn, but it's not really a dragon either. It gets complicated. I tell you, yeah. But anyway, so being as this is the year of the dragon, it's a good time to start exploring what is a dragon, what isn't. But you got your Eastern dragons, which is what you'll be seeing a lot of drawings of. Like, I've been trying to explore how to draw Eastern dragons. I think I'm getting a bit better at them. But I still want to try and get better at the Western version of them too, and then maybe try to draw the other types, like the Wyvern, which is kind of a dragon, but then it's not a dragon. And then there's another one where it's kind of like a bit like your Eastern dragon, where it is considered not a dragon, but it's called like something worm. I know Hildur had that version of a dragon, actually, the one that sort of looks a bit like an Eastern dragon, but it's not a dragon, but it is a dragon, and it isn't, and then it's like, it gets confusing. If you know anyone who's a big dragon fan or dragon nerd, they will tell you, oh my god, there's so much dragon lore. It is crazy, but I love dragons, and I love cats, so my favorite mythological creature is the dragon, because there's so many different types. Same with unicorns. I love unicorns and the phonics, and some griffins, but I definitely know dragons is where I started off from, hence. But anyway, this is today's drawings, and you saw already my little picture I have over there. I've stuck on my door because I needed something up for the year of the dragon, but I even did a Cupid. I even did the Mario Brothers and dragons for the year of the dragon, because yeah, year of the dragon, it's the best time to start practicing your dragon drawings, and maybe ask some of your friends who are dragon nerds about like that, or even looking up some reference books. But I found out so far with the feet for the Eastern dragon, you definitely need to look up parrot feet, because they have to be able to grab things, and parrots are the one bird that has feet that you can really grab onto things. So if you want to have a more Eastern-like dragon and have the feet sort of match, I would recommend looking at parrot feet. And then with the fluffy movement, might want to look at snakes, but then also look at cats, because sometimes dragon artists would look at the movement of cats. Hence why Toothless moves a bit like a dog and a horse at times, and a cat. I haven't got my glasses on right now, but I'll put them back on and stuff in a minute. I'm a bit short-sighted, so I need my glasses because of that. Anyway, it's interesting with how dragons are art-wise, and there's so many different cultures in their version of dragon, what they consider a dragon, what is and isn't a dragon. I'm going to shut the window. I think it's getting warmer and muggy again. Ugh, you have it open. Try and... sorry. I almost lost my book there for what I was talking about. But yes, I am trying to draw lots of dragons. I'm going to have to shut my window a bit because it's getting too muggy now, and it might rain, and I don't want rain coming through my window. There's no film when that happens. But yes, I'm trying to draw flowers as well, but I'm trying to get a bit better at drawing dragons. Dragons is really hard for me to draw. As you can see, I have a lot to learn. But this is just more like my little sketches of today, but yeah. So that's my whole spiel on drawing dragons at the moment, but yeah, I am working on that. So drawing dragons today. But yeah, I know quite a few dragon things thanks to a friend of mine, and sometimes if I want to brush up on my dragon knowledge, I have to ask her about it because she knows. But yeah, there's some that are not considered dragons, and the hardcore dragon fans will tell you which is a dragon, which isn't a dragon, and tell you do not want to get in that kind of conversation. Eastern dragons are considered dragons because it's what the east side of them, but West has a huge argument going about what is and isn't a dragon, so it can be quite complicated. So it's like, oh my god, each country has a different version of what they consider a dragon. So at least with Eastern dragons, they're exactly Eastern, but rarely do you see them with wings, because they were meant to represent huge rivers in time, so maybe even lakes, I'm not sure. It was very rarely to see them with wings because they could already fly without wings because they were a mythological creature, and they always have like some sort of beard. And sometimes I heard, and from some Asian or Eastern mythology, some dragons could turn themselves into old men at a certain point. And then there's another mythology list with the Eastern dragon is, I think, snakes, if they lived to a certain age, could become a dragon, but they had to be very wise and a good snake, not a bad one. I'm not sure, but then there's also bad dragons too, and bad snakes too. It's complicated, or it's like going from one side to the other. I think Miss Mushishi covered a version of a story about certain things having to become a dragon to a certain degree. So it's like being a dragon is a very high honor. Being a very high honor to be, because dragons would bring the rains. So dragons were they always had something to do with nature. A lot of dragons had something to do with nature. So sometimes some of them would be protecting forests. Some of them would probably be protecting treasures that were very ancient and needed to be protected. But a lot of ones that I know of had something to do with nature. There are others for other things, but it's interesting. There's so much mentioned lore on dragons. And being as this is the year of the dragon, it's a good time to start exploring more about dragons, and maybe asking your hardcore dragon fans about how to draw them, because I have some friends who are really hardcore. She got me into dragons, and I have to admit, dragons are really cool mythological creatures, as are unicorns. They're two of my favorite mythological creatures. I'm not as big into mermaids as most others. I like drawing them and I have fun with them, but I think I like dragons a little bit more over mermaids. They're a bit more cooler, my option. Like, I used to have stories with a friend of mine that we'd pretend to be, we befriended dragons, or we were part of the Dragons Perm thing, and we had this interesting connection and could, have like a dragon. Cat would actually have the same kind of person than what having a dragon would be like. That's why part of the reason I think my friend likes cats just as much as me. But I like cats because I like cats. But yeah, dragons have a lot of similarities to either birds and cats mixed together, and maybe sometimes lizards and snakes to some degree, depending what mythology you're following. So it's quite interesting, because sometimes what is considered a dragon to some dragon fans is not always considered the same either. So it's always fun to try and... So anyway, as I said, it's just the year to really try and explore your dragon, different types of dragon drawing is. And sorry, you heard to hear me rambling the whole time while looking at this. But that's my today's drawings, and I think I did them well, and I love my little dragon drawings of today, even though I made some mistakes. I know I did.